Welcome to the family with
co-host Catherine Brandt,
Alex Bernard Rasmussen,
what?
And Reverend Christopher.
And Andy Bernard.
What do you? What
I was like this.
to this mic.
Oh, so you
Like
got-
this huge mic, and I've got the headphones. I'm like, oh wait,
Here, I'll turn them both on so you'll be extra loud. There
Yeah,
you go.
you need extra Catherine.
because down in Florida, I have
Yep.
a studio.
Well,
I
not
don't
for
have
long.
this. I know. I like this better.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's arriving, I think, today.
Oh,
So
there you go.
Oh,
there
good.
you go.
Perfect.
That'll work out beautifully. So one of the things that I just love, there are two things about having Reverend Tim in studio. First of all, when I first started out in radio for about the first 5 years, because of my voice, people thought I was black. So now that you can just pretend you're me. So Steve, they finally were proved right. That's not actually Rev, it's Tom right there.
There you go.
Tim and Tom. Honestly, God, I'll never forget. I would go to the state fair and they go, "Who are you?" I said, "Catman." They go, "No, Catman's black." I was like, oh, God, whatever. I got a little bit of a, I don't know.
Can you see your glasses are fogging up from the cold? I
You're
think.
right. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just waiting for.
It's so cold outside. His
Yep.
glasses fogged
I'm
up.
just waiting for them to finish doing whatever they do
little
when
windshield wipers.
when you
Yeah, I
come in
know.
here.
I know how you
So-
feel.
Yeah.
That all works out, man. But we're back in Studio A in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
We are back, and is
Mhm.
it ever cold?
But you know what? I made the point this morning on social media that we left Florida, it was 83 degrees. We got back here, it was 5 degrees. And it's really not that big a deal. I mean, it's colder, yes, but it's not like knocking you out cold.
Well,
Wait till the night.
It
Well, the
freezes your
wind doesn't.
nostrils cold.
It's
so that's
knocking you
cold.
out cold. I don't go out. I don't go outside right
I'm
now.
with
My
you.
dog looks at me and like, dude, really?
We were driving here, and some guy was carrying his dog across the street because
Yeah.
they were frozen up. They couldn't.
Frozen
It was
paws.
too
Yeah.
cold.
That was funny.
My
Well, that's the
dog
way it
does the
works.
same thing. I got
Yeah.
an Australian Shepherd.
Right, and
So
Oh,
Jordy
yeah.
will go out and just run around. And
Right.
then he gets cold.
Yep.
And he's a smart dog, but
Right.
he's so stupid that he gets cold. And then I got to go all the way to the back end of the yard to get him, to bring him back and to carry him back in the
because
house
he's all frozen.
because he's frozen.
Bella was like that. She'd just like
Oh, yeah.
stop
She-
and go like this.
Yeah, like-
and,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I
I'm
wonder
done.
if they would just die if you let
I know.
them
Well,
stay.
they just stand there
That's
until they were
nice.
dead.
freeze there until the
Maybe
summer.
they were just
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Tip
cut down
over.
on dog food.
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's nice right
I
there.
wonder if they would.
Well, one
I
thing-
don't want to. I don't. What? Sorry.
Nothing. We're just going to go to break to bring in Kristen Burt in a couple
Okay.
of minutes. But I just want to point out one thing. There's actually a tie in studio right now that you guys don't even know about, that I didn't even know about until some people pointed it out. They said, "Are you? So you're going to have Reverend Tim on?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "God, that's going to be something because you're the two most attacked people on social media. You and I get attacked a lot on
Right?
social media."
You notice that?
I did notice that. There's no question
I read
about
what
it.
they say about you.
Well,
That's the guy,
when you're
blah, blah, blah.
opinionated, that'll happen.
That will definitely happen.
Yeah,
People
that's a
don't
very
like.
good
Well,
point.
you know what I've learned about social media is when you start telling the truth, people come at you.
Yep.
But if you start
Yeah.
lying and you start saying whatever they want you to say and what they want to hear, they leave you alone.
That's true.
You're their best friend. But the minute you start telling the truth, and the minute you start with going forward with what is really happening, oh, they come. So yeah, I read it. I read a lot of what they say about you. I
Oh,
laugh
yeah.
at it because
Yeah, whatever. It all works out in the end. I guess it's one of those situations for some people. It's like, hey, sorry, I succeeded. Gee, I should have never succeeded. Too. I'm sorry.
right.
Yeah,
Aha. I got
guess
your
that's
hat
what it
on
is.
screen.
My hat is on
Oh, I
screen.
can-
Oh, look
Oh,
at
how
you.
did you do
Yeah.
that, Andy?
Your
That was
hat is
good.
on screen. You
What?
have to like physically tilt the thing down while holding it. It's
Nana's
the
got it.
best setup in the world.
How's
But
that?
a little
Little lower.
more, just a
Lower?
tiny
A little
bit.
low. Then I can really.
There we
if
go.
You push the whole thing toward me a little bit.
I don't know.
Oh no!
about
Should I just leave it?
that.
Okay, just leave it.
Yeah.
just leave it.
It's precarious over here.
Everything's precarious.
Reverend Tim's in studio. We'll take a break. Be right back. Kristen Burt will join us right after this. Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. What do you think of that action, ladies and gentlemen? Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Now to bring Kristen Burt in and bring you up to date, Reverend Tim's with us today. And Reverend and I are shoulder to shoulder in the fact that I pointed out already the first several years I was on the radio, everybody thought I was black because of the tone of my voice. So I just pretended to not be here so Reverend Tim could actually be me.
There we go.
On camera. And then go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to point out the other thing is Reverend Tim and I are tied shoulder to shoulder, getting ripped on social media more than anybody I've ever seen. So, we got that going for us.
Well, you've seen Jason DeRusha, who was on yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. He gets ripped a lot.
Oh, does he too?
Does he?
He's the greatest guy and very, very nice man. What is
Yeah.
that all about?
Well, he's a news
I
guy.
like Jason. Well, Jason brings it upon himself. So
there you
Jason
Good guy.
is just that type of guy.
Yeah.
So, Tom and I,
he can
we
do
don't
it.
do anything.
No, just
No,
very
we-
nice people. The whole shoot
I was gonna
match.
say when Kristen came in, you were going like this. I thought, oh, what's wrong? You must have just been adjusting your headphones.
Not a problem. Kristen Burt, what's the latest in Hollywood?
This is the big Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary weekend.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
50
there's
years?
actually a lot of great content to watch if you're interested. And I think what's great is that they're really going back into the archives because everyone goes, Saturday Night Live's not funny anymore. Well, if you really want to know whether you think Saturday Night Live was funny at its origins, they're showing the very first episode on Saturday night at 11:30 p.m.
Oh my
I
goodness.
bet it's going to be rough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a feeling. I mean, if you're old enough to have seen the first season,
When was
your
that?
sense of
50
humor
years.
changes in 50
Oh,
years.
yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
Probably what you thought was
Well,
funny
yeah.
50 years ago isn't so funny now.
Yeah, you see that a lot with like movies and music and video games. People are like, oh, why can't they just make stuff like they used to 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, well, they are making stuff like they used to 30 years ago, but you don't like it anymore. You think you still like it, but you don't because otherwise you would be consuming that content.
Right.
Yeah, it does make sense. Kristen, the one thing I have not seen Saturday Night Live in about 40 years because I was a huge John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd. I mean, the original cast I really, really liked. And I got to know some of them. Dan Aykroyd came in the studio a couple of times. And one of my favorite things Dan Aykroyd started a wine company. I don't know how many was that, 25 years ago, something like that, 20 years
I don't
ago.
know.
So he came into studio and he brought a bottle of his wine and it was all signed and thanks Tom for la 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 la. came home one day and somebody had opened the wine. Was that you, Catherine?
I sure was.
Catherine opened the wine.
Oh,
It's like, thanks, honey.
oh wow.
Who cares? It's a bottle of wine.
Oh, wait a second. Wait.
Aykroyd.
See,
It's a souvenir.
that's like
Whatever.
that's like my Wheaties box with the Packers
Oh,
championship.
It was vodka. This
My-
Crystal Skull,
My
remember?
kid opened up my box.
Oh,
No, this was a
Yeah.
bottle of wine, Andy.
No.
Crystal Skull's different.
oh
We
so
have
did
a-
Crystal
she
Skull
said, who
and he had
cares?
wine?
Yeah,
have-
as far as I know.
I never saw the crystals. I don't know.
Oh,
I
huh.
don't know.
She drank it all, is what she's telling us.
Well, yeah, it's,
It was.
Blood.
It
it
was.
was never seen, but it was tasted.
It was very old, and it wasn't kept in a refrigerator.
Oh, well,
and
yeah.
We were moving, and I'm like, I'm not going to have room for all of this wine stuff anymore. So
One
I had to
bottle,
open it
and
up to
that's
see
the
if it was
bottle
any.
that she chooses. to-
Mhm.
It wasn't. The wine was bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't even good.
I didn't know wine could go
Did you
back.
save the
Oh, I
bottle
see.
at least?
I
You have the bottle, I think.
don't know.
I think-
I still have the bottle.
Yeah.
Still the bottle. That's good.
But nicest guy in the world. I never got to meet John Belushi in person, but everybody I've met pretty much, a lot of people don't like Bill Murray in person. He kind of stays to himself, but I found him, he was pleasant enough. I didn't have any problem with him, but
A little
Does he-
prickly.
Does he still do that? You have to call him or leave a message or something. He
He's
doesn't
an
go through an
800
agent.
number.
yep.
Oh,
It's
that's
an
so
800
strange.
number. And you
So-
have to track down the 800 number. So you have to find somebody who knows Bill Murray to get that 800 number.
Isn't that amazing though? You're looking back at that. The Reverend Tim and I were only 1 year old when that started 50 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of puppies.
There
Well,
you
if you
have it.
haven't seen a lot of the cast, old and new, have done a lot of press this week. Some really funny stuff and like looking back at some of the archives. But tonight on Peacock, if you're looking for a show to watch, they're doing the SNL 50 homecoming concert. Jimmy Fallon's hosting it. And they're bringing in a lot of headliners from years past that have performed on the show. Then tomorrow night, Saturday night, is the original show, of course. And then Sunday night is a 3-hour special on NBC celebrating SNL.
Oh,
And everybody's coming back. Like it is a stacked cast. It's going to be amazing.
very sad though. Gilda Radner no longer
Oh, I
around. I mean,
know.
that's
I
too
liked-
bad.
Yeah.
Those were my
Lizzie.
favorite years.
Phil Hartman. I think Phil Hartman is probably
Oh, yeah.
the loss that the cast, that particular cast that was with
Yeah.
him in the 90s, feels the most
Yeah.
Yep.
because he was murdered by
Yep.
his wife.
Yep.
That's
Bill
so
Hartman and Chris
bizarre.
Farley were the two
Chris Farley's
two
another one, yeah.
big ones for, I think, people in my age bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
I'm actually wondering, did Chris Farley and Phil Hartman overlap in casts at all?
I wonder.
Andy's tracking it down, Chris. Look
Yeah,
at that.
track
You got
it
Andy.
down because I'm curious about that. And just to kind of like put a little bow on all of this, if you haven't seen the movie Saturday Night, which came out last fall, that is about the final 90 minutes before Saturday Night actually went live. It's a scripted
yeah.
obviously, version. It's an excellent movie. So that's streaming on Peacock too, if people are looking for it.
I'd love to give that. I tell you, to this day, I still can't believe Catherine and I were in Nantucket and there's John Belushi's grave. And it's like, why is it? Because apparently he loved it because he was originally from Chicago, right?
I
I
think
know he made his career in Chicago.
Yeah. I think he was from Chicago originally, but to just wander upon John Belushi's grave was kind of really weird.
Chris Farley and Phil Hartman overlapped for 4 years. Most of Chris
Oh.
Farley's tenure, actually.
Really?
90 to 95 was Chris Farley, and Phil Hartman was 86 to 94.
He had a long tenure.
sure did.
And that's what I remember. I think when they did the 40th, I want to say it was the 40th anniversary for Saturday Night Live, the cast that had kind of overlapped. I think this is what was my memory. Chris and Phil, they just were, you could still see the grief. They were still wearing it and
Yeah.
sad that the two of them
Yeah.
weren't there with them.
Oh, it was there's no question at the beginning it was a great show. And all I said, like I said, I stopped watching it at 40 years ago. I watched the first 10 years and then I didn't think it was that good. I mean, some of the people would pop in and were pretty good, but I think I liked that original cast so much that when most of them or all of them were gone, it just wasn't for me anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
and everyone has their cast.
agree
If
with
you talk to people, like when did you watch Saturday Night Live? Were
Right.
you the Eddie Murphy era? Were you the
Yeah.
Chris Farley, David Spade era? Like that type of thing. Now, I don't think people it's not appointment television. You don't stay home on Saturday night at 11:30. You're like, let me go and
No,
watch this.
No.
In fact, we get it at 8:30 here on the West Coast, by the way.
Right.
But I think a lot of people watch it now on TikTok. They watch the social media clips. They've had a lot of success this year with certain sketches, and it's for Gen Z generation now, and that's they're going to be like, I love Bo and Yang and that type of thing.
Yeah. Yep. No, of course. Oh, by the way, if you hear these little beeps, that's just people texting Reverend Tim, tell how much they hate him. So
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there
It's
you go.
just sitting there, right?
There you go.
How dare you?
Oh dear.
Well, I got threatened for the first time yesterday.
You got threatened?
Yeah, dude said he's coming to get me.
Who?
Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
Man alive.
some
Oh
it's always funny how these so-called computer warriors hide
Yeah.
behind their
Oh, yeah.
little picture, but yet I told him, okay, the only thing you're telling me is I gotta switch out my 9 to my 45.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's what you tell when you threaten me. That's all it tells me is
Wow.
leave
Why
a
would you
9
threaten
at
you?
home and carry the 45.
one's
So
for
I'm
business
good.
and one's for pleasure.
Thank you very much. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
That's the only thing that tells me. Well, I better not say that. I'm gonna get all the
You'll be
black
okay.
Democrats upset because I carry a firearm and I'm a black man.
Well, they don't like that.
Oh no, boy, you mean they don't like
You
that?
you making them look bad? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, black people are not supposed to have weapons.
Oh, they're not.
No,
I didn't know that.
no. It's according to the
When I grew up, a
white
lot of-
liberal.
I can't think of one who didn't actually. as a
Thank you
matter
very
of
much.
fact.
Right?
Well, that was
No.
smart in my neighborhood. But Kristen, I hate to say this, but it's absolutely true. That conversation just made me really sad. The talking about all of that great talent and the Belushis of the world, and you go down the list. They were so great. And the beginning of that show was such a wonderful memory for me. Like I said, I was only 1 year old. Reverend Tim and I were 1 year old.
We were just babies.
just babies. So,
Just a baby.
does that strike you in any way? Like, oh, the sadness of that's kind of all gone now.
Well, I think, first of all, the show was revolutionary when it came out.
Yes.
There was nothing like that. Remember,
Yep.
at a certain point after the news went on, they used to play the American anthem, and that was it.
The
Like that's
Indian
it.
had, yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where they revolutionized television. You can't deny how Lorne Michaels has changed the comedy scene, brought us tremendous talent in film and television. After they left the show, a lot of people had great success after
Mhm.
that. Some didn't. But I do think that there's a lot of nostalgia. Now, I live literally a 3-minute walk from where Phil Hartman was killed. His house is right around the corner from me. So I have a great memory of that. I didn't live in this neighborhood when he was killed, but there's a sadness there. There definitely is. And
There
the
is,
people that own the house now too have made it into this like whimsical garden home. And they have like woodland creatures all carved. And I think that they just tried to change like the karma of the house
Yeah.
because
Sure.
it's hard not to forget what happened there.
Yep.
You know what's so great
Definitely.
about that too? You're giving me all these wonderful memories because if you lived in a house in my neighborhood, somebody wasn't killed. That was really rare. That was very rare.
And I can understand what you just said.
Oh yes, you can.
What was the sketch that was it Chris Farley that did the basement? He was interviewing stars in his basement.
You are thinking of Jiminy Glick, I think.
Jiminy Glick.
You're thinking of Jiminy.
No.
Martin Short.
Martin. Was it?
Martin Short,
Was
where
it?
they're on the couch and he's asking them stupid questions.
Really stupid question.
And he'd have like the
Is that what I'm thinking of?
The
I
fat
thought it-
suit on. He had a
Although,
fat
wait,
suit on.
I think Chris Farley, wasn't he like the,
I think he
remember when you were in the Beatles?
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yep,
was Chris
that
Farley.
was
You're right.
Chris
Yeah,
Farley.
that
Yep.
was the
You're right,
funniest
yeah.
thing. And the stars would just look at him because I'm sure it was all scripted, but they were just looking because all those stupid questions.
Mhm.
That was Chris Farley. That was
Oh, yeah,
how
you're
long
right.
ago then? That was forever ago.
the
then.
90s.
90s.
What?
Seems like yesterday.
Well, he died in like 95 or something.
Really?
So
Chris Farley
Mm.
died later than that.
did he? Chris Farley.
It's literally I can't. It can't be
97.
right.
97.
97.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I remember
Wow.
when Andy, when you said it smells like Chris Farley in here.
Yes, I do.
As a little boy, you were a little boy. Oh,
Well,
you got to tell that story.
Chris
You got it.
Farley was kind of a hot mess. a couple of years before he died.
Well, yeah, I was probably
He
10
was-
years old, so this is like a year
He was
before
super,
he died. if
super
that.
fat. He was always sweaty. He was always high. He always looked like he just crawled out of a dumpster.
Well, yeah, the
Her-
paparazzi, of course, they plastered
Yeah.
pictures of him with unkempt hair. Yeah.
all over. So every time you went to Target or any place, they always had a tabloid
Yep.
with a picture of him looking
Mhm.
absolutely
Always.
horrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one time we were in the store, and I didn't realize that Andy was looking at this stuff because he was just a kid. But he always saw Chris Farley looking,
Yeah.
gross. And we were standing in line. He goes, "It smells like Chris Farley in here."
Oh, no.
That's terrible.
Isn't that crazy how like the tabloids permeated Andy's
Yeah.
brain?
Yeah.
I still laugh about that every once in a while when I see a tabloid.
yeah.
I'm always like, it smells like Chris Farley in here.
Yeah. In retrospect, not the nicest thing to say, but I didn't know any better.
No, you didn't know any better, but it was very funny.
out of the mouth of babes. as they
Mhm.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Kristen, that's one reason I love having you on to start off the show for so many years now, is because I wouldn't even have thought of that. So the fact that you brought it up, just all these memories come flowing back into my head, the great times, the not so wonderful times, losing all these wonderful people, and then
Mhm.
other people coming along that were very, very funny. I had several friends that tried out for Saturday Night Live, but never did make the cast, and yet later on went on to become big comedy stars. And that was a who was that Lorne Michaels idea, the whole idea of the show itself?
Yeah, and he was, cast to changing like let's do a show late at night on a Saturday. Like
Yep.
who? And it was called Saturday Night at the time. It wasn't even Saturday Night Live, but it's just
Mhm.
one of those situations. It's that you think it's still going 50 years later. Like
Yep.
Well, it
what other show is going 50 years later than Tonight
Was-
Show?
was Second City TV before? Because that's
Was it?
No, I think it was after.
was it
It
after?
was
that?
after.
Second City TV
was
was
after.
1 year later.
One year
later,
later.
'cause that was
Another
very
great show.
similar.
Yeah.
Great show.
What about
Yeah.
Mad
We've
TV?
seen Mad TV come and go. The Wayans brothers, like their show,
Yep.
kind of
Oh,
came and
great.
went
Yeah.
In Living Color? Is that?
in
And
living
the-
color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Living
That
Color.
That was
good.
1990. Oh, yeah. That wasn't until much later, huh?
Yeah, that was later.
But they were crazy. They pushed the limits on In Living Color. I mean, that was black must see TV
Mhm.
yeah. on
every time
Fox.
they came on. We all crammed into the same living room
My friend and
just
I.
to watch that show together.
My friend and I, to this day, every so often we have to drop the homie, don't play that.
Right.
Dan says that
Thank you.
sometimes.
Does he?
Like he says it to the kids. The kids will say something like, "Homie, don't
Homie,
play
don't
that."
play that.
Can you imagine them trying to get away with some of the things that they did on there today?
Oh,
It would
God.
They'd
be
never.
crazy, right?
Oh, yeah. Fire
On
Marshal
broadcast
Bill.
television
Joe.
too, not cable, not streaming,
Oh,
It was
broadcast.
broad- Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Fox.
Great.
Yeah, and I mean, J-Lo was just a fly girl at the time, like dancing her way in
Fly
between
girls.
segments.
Oh, God,
I
that's
forgot about
right.
Fly Girls. My
Yeah,
God.
the fly girls.
What a wonderful moment this is right now. Just even talking about all these things, and 50 years later, and my God, it did change comedy though forever. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Damon Wayans got kicked off Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he
Did
did.
he?
Yep.
Yeah. Because they was trying to make him do things he didn't want to do. He
Um,
tells the story. It's a really, really good story.
okay.
And so we thank Lorne Michaels for kicking him off, because if not, In Living Color
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have never
Oh.
happened.
Okay.
So Lorne Michaels, thank you very much.
Well, that's true.
It's the butterfly effect.
We had a comedian on our
Yeah.
show a few years ago that was on Saturday Night Live, and they didn't renew his contract after a year, and he was so hurt and angry about it. Did you?
I
do
don't
you
remember who that was.
He talked about it.
I know. I think I
You
remember, but
remember?
I don't remember who it was.
All right. Well, if
There's
you
been
think
so
about-
many people on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
How long was Jay Farrow on the show? Because you guys had Jay Farrow on at one point.
Was he on SNL?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
He was,
Let's
and you guys
see.
had him on the podcast because
Very early.
Yeah, he used to come
was-
through Minneapolis all the time at
Yeah.
yeah, and he came on the show with his sister.
his sister.
And
Yep.
I
Mhm.
was on the show for some reason. I crossed over with them, and he and I have followed each other for years on social media since
Yeah,
then.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He was on SNL 2010 to 2016.
Okay,
God,
Yeah.
So
that
he was
long
on
ago.
SNL for a while,
Yeah, he
he
actually.
was a little bit longer than I thought.
Now I get to go home and weep Kristen. Way to go! All these wonderful memories and sad memories.
Wonderful
and-
memories. I
Well, no,
know
some
we-
of the humor was fantastic at the beginning. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, but there's been eras where it's been extremely funny. It's just
Yeah.
if you weren't watching it, you may not have caught it. But I mean, I think for a lot of people in the 80s, we'll probably say the Eddie Murphy years were the funniest it ever was.
Yeah, he
Joe
was-
Piscopo, another one that
No,
he didn't necessarily have the success post SNL, but when he was together with Eddie, they were a great comedy team.
What was that Eddie Murphy where he was like the building janitor or something? What was that bit he did when he come walking through the door and down the stairs?
He did
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Mr.
That's
Robinson's neighborhood. He
right.
did. That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about that.
He did Buckwheat.
Yeah. Jane Brown. He did Jane Brown.
Oh,
James
God.
Brown, yes.
Good man. In the hot tub. I remember.
exactly.
And then like the Billy Crystal era when he did his like you look marvelous. People went nuts for that.
Don't tell Tom about you look marvelous. You used to do that everywhere you
I
went.
kinda
Everybody say,
did for a
"Hey,
while.
hi Tom. You look
You
marvelous."
look marvelous.
See, you were influenced by SNL. Look at Tom, you're getting busted.
He did it,
I
he
am
did it
getting
for
busted.
years.
Oh, I tell you, we never missed that show when it started. We never missed it. Every Saturday night, you'd sit down, maybe have a bottle of wine or two, have some cocktails, whatever it was. But that, I mean, Chris, that's the great thing about these shows, that doing these shows with you, because you brought back all these magnificent memories. What are you laughing about over there?
Sit down, drink a bottle of wine each.
Absolutely.
Then we'd move on to the
cocktails.
Get
Just
plastered.
Catherine opening Dan Aykroyd's bottle.
Man.
I can understand that
Things
because
are
when In Living Color would come on, we get a 40.
Oh, absolutely.
We
See, that's why Reverend
Right?
Tim and I
That's
are
why
friends.
things are
That's
so
right.
funny because you're wasted.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Maybe they weren't that
we get our
flat.
paper
Maybe
bag,
they were
get
just
our
high.
40s, and we go sit down and watch the show. See, Tom, we like this, man.
Oh, I know. I know.
Was it Mad Dog or Night Train?
It was Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Back in those
Mad
days.
Dog
Now it's
2020.
MD
Yeah.
2020 now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Old English.
God.
Old English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kristen, look what you've done to us today. Brought
Right.
these flood of memories coming back, but they're all great memories. I got to be very honest with you, all of them. And I was trying to think just now, just to throw things off a little bit, but I can't think of one person that I went, oh God, they just don't fit on this show at all. I know it had to have happened, but I just don't remember them not fitting in and going away quickly. Did that ever happen?
On Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been people that have been kind of
I
like one
thought so.
season wonders or half
Right.
season. Anthony Michael Hall probably is one of the more famous
Oh,
names that
yeah.
people know. That is Julie Louis-Dreyfus has talked about her years on
Yep.
Sarah Silverman. I think the show, especially in the early years, was very difficult for the women. It was a boys'
Yeah.
club,
Yeah.
and it was really hard for them to fit in. And that, and I remember there was a famous book. They did kind of an oral history for the 25th anniversary. It's a great book, and I'm sure they've updated by now since 25 years have gone by. But you get to hear the experience of some of the women and what it was like and how they were oftentimes left out of the writing segments and then not included in some of the sketches and how they really had to like fight for their lives on that show.
Molly
Molly
Superstar.
Shannon. Molly Shannon's done very well.
Yeah, she did.
Who is
yeah.
that?
Molly Shannon.
Yeah.
Molly Shannon. God, there
Mary
you go.
Catherine Gallagher.
Yeah, she had some real.
Oh,
She had
yes.
some really great skits.
Well, that
I
turned into a
thought.
movie.
Yeah,
The
it did.
person who I'm most surprised that didn't have the success because I thought she was so good was Sherry O'Terry was so fantastic
Oh yeah. Yep.
on the show, especially with Will Ferrell. And I felt like her post SNL career didn't match that same success.
God, now I'm going to be pouting all weekend because of you. Great memories, sad memories.
Well,
show had an
tons of
impact on
content to
every-
watch. If you have
Yeah.
NBC or Peacock especially,
Mhm.
everything is like right there in an SNL sort of 50 hub. You can see it. So there'll be a lot of good things to watch and catch up on.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We've been gone for a few months and we got back to our house here and they changed the TV delivery system. So I'm having a hard time finding anything right now.
Yeah, everything's all messed up.
But we'll track it all down. But I'm really glad you brought that up, Kristen, because it brings some sadness, yes, but wonderful memories and laughs and Belushi being found. Well, he was at the Chateau Marmont, wasn't that where he
Chateau
died?
Marmont. Yep.
Thought so.
And he had been out and about that night with Robin Williams, Robert De Niro. Like, if you go back and read any recounting of that evening, there was a lot of partying going on that night up
Oh,
and down
God.
the Sunset Strip.
Now, what's interesting is that would have been what year was that? So that would have been about
I want to say like 81 or something like that.
81. Yeah, so that would make sense because I was at the Chateau Marmont. Catherine and we stayed there, didn't we? Or did I just stay there by myself without one other time?
I have no.
The year
clue.
that
We
John Belushi died?
Yeah, I was there like a couple of days before that happened.
82.
we
So 82.
were
Too,
just Dan and I were just near there in October, and we looked at how much it was to stay there.
At Chateau Marmont.
It was like, I don't even $800 a night. No, more than that. I don't even.
It's cheap, but California price.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
really.
it's more than that.
actually
It's
is.
more than that.
I mean, if you get one of the bungalows, that's easily like a 8 to 10 grand a night. for
Yeah.
the-
Yes, but
one
like
of the
just like
bungalows.
we were just like a room with a bed. It was like $1,500.
We'll take the broom closet.
Yeah,
exactly.
Chateau. There are a lot of secrets in the
Oh, yeah.
walls at Chateau. And my friend used to work. This is kind of an interesting story. She used to work for People Magazine, and her job was to go out to Chateau on Fridays and Saturdays and just sit. There's a tiny little restaurant in the garden on the inside, and sit and just like people watch, looking for celebrities, writing down like
sure,
what happened, and then it would be reported on the website like the next day or whatever. And so she would take me sometimes, and it was a night free on People. Those days don't exist anymore because expense accounts on magazines don't happen anymore. But
Oh, right.
that's what they used to do. And we used to like go and eat and drink on People, and then try and spot celebrities doing terrible things.
Okay, now good. That's
Not a bad job.
you just gave me a great
I'd like
intro
that job.
Yeah.
because I know you got to hit the road here in a second, but could you do me a favor, Kristen Burt, and ask Catherine Bent, KB1 and KB2, ask Catherine, we went to this very famous restaurant right across the street from Capitol Records. I was running the central part of the United States for Capitol, traveling constantly. And the first time you and I went there was that one has been 82 or 83.
That's a long time ago.
I think it was 1982. And what was the name of the restaurant, Catherine? Do you remember?
No.
You know which one I'm talking about, Kristen. Right across the street from Capitol Records. The
Well,
steak,
are you thinking like Frank and Musso's?
Frank and Musso.
Yes, that's
Frank and
it.
Musso's is around the corner. It's not across the street, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah, it's around
on
the
the block.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
Get it
Because I
right.
was like, there's apartment buildings
You're
across.
absolutely, sorry, it was only 40 years ago or whatever.
I know. Well, it's apartment buildings, and I don't know what it was
But-
40 years ago because I wasn't living here. So
Would you do me a favor, KB2? Would you ask KB1 what she ordered for dinner at Frank and Musso?
No,
oh, I
I'm
know this.
starting to
I know
like-
the answer to this.
I couldn't understand the waiter. I could not understand him.
And as someone from New England, I
Yeah.
cringe.
Well, yeah, because he went through all the specials, and he had a heavy accent. It's a very loud room. I heard the word lobster, so I said, "I'll have the lobster." That's a reasonable request, right?
Yeah, but he
Sounds like a deal to me.
The lobster? Yeah, I mean,
I got a lobster, and it was like a 45-pound lobster.
Oh,
It was
in honesty, it was
disgustingly
10
huge.
pounds.
It was
A
huge.
10-pound
The
lobster.
biggest lobster I've ever seen. I didn't even know they got that big.
And the grossest lobster you've probably ever had in your
Yeah.
entire
Ew,
life.
I know. That
I don't
sounds
know why they even gave
creepy.
it to anybody. I mean, we were giving lobster to people on the street. We were giving lobster. Yeah, it was
It's
like,
so tough when it's that big. Like
It was-
yeah.
yeah, it was.
I always say, as a girl who grew up in Massachusetts and Maine, 2 to 2.5 pounds is your sweet
Yep.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll
Go
be
over
good.
that. Do
Yep.
not do it. 2.5 pounds
Absolutely.
max.
One thing I got to be very, very happy about is I had a Capitol Records credit card that when I took clients out, I put all the dinners on the credit card. And even then, you're talking what, 40 years ago, somewhere in there,
yeah.
45 years ago.
hmm
I do believe that lobster was like $160.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're overcharging you for that.
Okay.
I didn't
They're
know.
like sucker as you're like shutting the credit
Somebody
card.
bought that piece of
I
crap.
think they do
right.
that on purpose. They have heavy accents, so you don't know what they're saying. You just end up, instead of trying to
you
be
don't understand
insulting.
what they're saying.
Yeah, it's like instead of being insulting, I don't know what he's saying.
And also
you know.
on the specials, we have the lobster.
Exactly. And the
I would have been so rude.
caviar.
I'm like, I did not order 10 pounds. I'm from New England. 2. That's
Yeah.
it. 2.
Too.
Yeah, in retrospect, we could have. Can you send it back when you order a 10-pound lobster
can.
unknowingly?
So we have-
I would say I
They want
thought
their
you
money.
said 2 pound, not 10 pound. That sounds really similar.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we have a text in on the text in line.
We got a text in line now. Great.
We had we missed something.
What did we miss?
So we were wondering if Phil Hartman and Chris Farley were on at the same time on SNL.
Yes.
Mhm.
Of course they were, because Phil Hartman was the dad in the Living in a Van Down by the River bit.
Oh my God, that's right.
Oh.
That was a great bit.
So they were actually on the same bit together, and a
Yes.
famous bit too.
Oh,
Very good bit. It was very,
But I mean,
very
of course, that bit was 90% them just trying not to laugh while Chris Farley, screamed and fell on tables. So
I love that.
because you could tell, like, they would do that thing where they almost laugh, but then they like make it into a pretend cry, but it's not
Yep.
very convincing because you know what's
Right.
going on.
Yeah.
That's basically all that bit was, is them trying not to laugh.
Two great memories, Kristen Burt. First time I ever had lobster in the city of Boston. It was phenomenal.
Yep.
It really was. It
Oh,
is
yes.
different. I'm sorry, but it is.
And their
That's where
lobster
you go.
rolls. You've got the
The lobster roll.
hot roll or the cold roll, which
Yeah,
I had never heard of
absolutely.
before.
Connecticut roll is with butter, and then New England or Boston lobster roll is with mayonnaise.
Oh, they
Mayo.
called it hot or cold when at the restaurants we were at in Boston. I don't know.
Yeah, they call it hot and cold. But
Mhm.
so, Kristen, you made me very sad and very happy in the same report. How is it possible?
I did my job.
I did my job. Kristen, thank you so much. That was a great report. And that beginning of Saturday Night Live, and I know that was, 50 years ago, but my God, I tuned it in. It's like, oh man, it changed TV forever. It
It
did.
did. It did. And I'm glad it's still here for, to celebrate its 50th birthday. Even if you don't think it's funny, it's still, I think it still brings forth a lot of great comedians into the TV and film landscape.
Well, it got way too political for a while there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
got way over the top political.
Yeah,
which I
it almost
kinda-
died. That almost killed it.
It almost did,
almost
didn't it? I
killed
think
it.
it did almost
Mhm.
kill it. Yeah, I mean, joke around it, make fun of it, don't praise it. You don't
Yeah.
want comedians praising things. It's
No.
not funny,
No.
right? She's not even going to talk to me anymore. You know.
I gotta go. I have a weekend to start.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I got work to do, actually. I'm
Kristen,
being
thank you
pinged
so
by
much.
my editor right now. He's like, ping.
You
Oh,
gave us a
On
great,
Slack.
great Friday. So thank you very much for that. And we will talk to you on Monday.
have a nice
See you on
weekend.
Monday. Have a great week. We're on Monday.
Yes.
It's a holiday, but
Yes.
we're working.
Yep.
Yes. Great. I'll see you on
That's
Monday.
okay with you. Thank you. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We'll take a break. Be right back. And then Reverend Tim and I will just attack one another. It'll be magnificent. It'll be
Always a good
fantastic.
time.
South Dakota, one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was recently ranked #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes, #2 best state business tax climate by the Tax Foundation, and #5 top state for e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls, and I do love Sioux Falls, used to go there for Capitol Records all the time, speaking of Capitol Records. Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you're at in your career, we have an opportunity waiting for you. Our city's tax-friendly climate and strong workforce don't go unrecognized. Forbes named Sioux Falls one of the top small cities for business and careers each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the 4th best city for young professionals. So how does South Dakota stack up against other states? We rank 2nd in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. As South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. Now I get to talk about my buddy, Bilski. You ready? Yeah. Okay. Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. You know that. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers, where you know your banker and they know you. While a lot has changed since 1998, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, I was just there this morning and one over in Edina, as a matter of fact, said hello to everybody. Very nice people there. It's right there, just off of a little north of 50th in France, right there. That's where it is. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabanco.com or stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And My Pillow. Just talked to Don this morning. Oh, there's a picture of Mike smiling. I like that. That's up on the screen right now. My Pillow is excited to announce they're having their first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on their brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one that Mike has worn. That's every day for the last 20 years, as a matter of fact. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard My Pillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com, use promo code TOM, or call 800-516-5146. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed, because right now every order ships absolutely free. What do you think of that? We got that 3 live spots, Red.
You're a true professional.
Oh, God. That was a shot, you know.
It was not.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reverend Tim Christopher in studio. So now we can absorb all of that wonderful time we just had for the first half hour. Now we got about another half hour where we can be personally attacked. What do you think?
Like always, I appreciate you guys for giving me the opportunity to be here.
No, it's great to have you in.
Thank
No
you.
question.
Thank you for that.
It's always fun. If you don't follow, what is your handle on Twitter again?
Rev T Christopher at Rev T Christopher.
At Rev T Christopher.
I'm also on YouTube now too.
Oh, are you?
Big shot.
Check me out, right?
Absolutely.
I finally figured it out. You know, after I couldn't get my kids to come over and do it for me.
Are we still banned from YouTube?
Technically, officially, we are on YouTube,
Oh.
courtesy of some fancy footwork by Hubbard. But
Oh,
honestly, I think it's only a matter of time until they figure it out.
Oh,
Why were we kicked
better
off
get you-
anyway?
yeah. What did we ever
what'd
Because-
do?
you do, Tom?
We used to have the bumper music, and they didn't like that because we'd play just whatever.
So why don't you just say don't play it anymore and you're fine?
Because we are now persona non grata.
Oh, they never forgive you.
No, they do not forgive.
You never enter a state of grace after.
Nope.
Oh,
wow.
Once
banned?
you've made those record companies angry, no, you are.
There aren't any record companies anymore.
No, whatever they are, music publishing, whatever they call
Yeah,
themselves
whatever it
now.
is.
It's probably an AI drone.
So it's not like the old days of good parenting. When a good
It's
parent
wrong.
would come and say, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, don't do that.
That's right.
That's good parenting. Now it's like, you're punished forever. It's like,
Mhm.
what?
They don't punish. What do you mean? Wait a minute. What'd you just say?
They punish you.
Are you
forever.
serious?
Oh,
Who
absolutely.
who gets punished?
Me. You two.
YouTube.
I don't think he's talking about actual parents.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe
I was
not.
just making sure.
Talking
that-
about Big Brothers.
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah. Just making sure that we was on. We was on. Wait a minute. Is he really talking parents actually punish kids these days?
No.
The state can't even punish the kids anymore. So
No, I suppose that is
Well,
probably
they can.
true.
They just don't.
there we go.
Right.
They don't.
So, Rev, it's been, when's the last time you were in studio?
Wow.
It's been a minute.
Been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, no
Okay.
question about
I
it.
remember
Yeah.
Might
exactly.
be able to find that out.
The reason I'm asking that is because, the world has changed quite a bit in the last few years, and you've gone through some things and I've gone through some things. And can you ever get beyond it, do you think?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
I think the problem is there's issues out there that we don't want to let go. So it's hard to get beyond anything because it's
Hello.
Ooh.
because of the issues that
The chicken's done, Andy. Did you
Yeah.
say that?
because of
Where's the
the issues that we have. But
Mhm.
if we can all get over those issues, then I think we can move forward. But the problem is the powers to be don't want us to.
No, I think that's exactly right. And it was really great to hear from you, talk once in a while, but there are times I've been out of town a long time or whatever the situation is. And I've always been able to be very honest with you about the way things are in the world and all the rest of it. I do not understand why it's like making me responsible for what happened in World War II. It's like I wasn't even born yet. Well, yeah, but you're a white guy. It's like, what are you talking about? Why do you think it is that people can't let go of skin color? Why can't they?
It's money.
It is money. That's
People
exactly right.
people make good money to keep you and I divided.
Yep.
Why would the government want you and I to be walking down the road together, hand in hand,
Yeah.
saying we're gonna make a difference, right?
Yep.
Let's just say you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat,
We'll say that. Yeah. Okay.
right? So that right there alone is what they want. They want us fighting. They want us at
Mhm.
each other. I mean, look at what this governor has done to this state. And
I
if
would have to agree with that.
If people can't come together after what these Democrats have done over the last couple of years, just over the last 2 years, if we all can't come together because of what we see, they have done it right in front of us.
They have.
Well,
and-
culturally, you get it from all sides.
I get it from all sides.
You get it from all
because
sides,
people
'cause-
want me to pick a side of a fence.
Yep.
They say
Yeah,
either
yeah.
either you got to be a Republican or you got to be a Democrat. Well, I've sailed both of those boats. I refuse anymore to sail on any Republican or Democrat. So I can talk about any one of them I want. I mean, when I first voted, I voted for Ronald Reagan. I was a
Mhm.
Republican
Yeah.
because of my daddy's check.
Well, you
I
get
was
to-
Republican,
and you have the freedom to vote for who you want
and
to
I
vote
got
for.
the freedom to vote for whoever I want to.
Yeah.
My grandfather died a Republican. He didn't make that switch when all the black people decided to go to the Democratic Party after Nixon and all of them guys.
Right.
Right? Black
Yeah.
people are truly conservative people. We just don't realize that because we're too busy depending on the Democrats waiting on the Democrats to give us something. The Democrats keep making these promises to us, but they never come through. Then all of a sudden I go on Facebook the other day and come to find out here they are pushing this reparation thing. It's now we can bring out reparations. Now we want to talk about it. Now we want to get all the black
Really?
people. Oh yeah.
Oh God, I've been hearing that
Yeah,
since I was
yeah.
at
Oh,
St.
yeah.
Joe's over on Plymouth Avenue and 4th Street.
Well, they only did that because black people voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's
for
right.
us to get these people back, we got to do what I just said. We have to
Mhm.
promise them something. And the big promise right now is reparations. That's the promise.
Reparations, but the people who suffered get nothing. 150 years ago, people were murdered for their skin color. They get none of it. So how does that make anything good? Right? I mean, how do people not understand that was a part of our history that we'll never get over? Everybody should know about it. But now today is a different day. So for them to offer reparations to you or any other black person, to me, is an insult.
They know it exactly. Thank you very much.
Well, it's true. It is. It's an
because they
insult.
know it will never pass.
Well, that's exactly
But the
other
promise
part.
to get us back,
Right.
because everybody voted for Donald Trump. Everybody was upset at the way the Democratic Party was what they were doing.
My friends started talking about that, and I'm like, wait a second. You're going to vote for Donald Trump?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that. It just, here's what I would like to see. Why don't, if we're going to do reparations, we should go across the board then. So everybody who suffered or came from a very, very extremely poor family, it's got nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with how you came up, where you came up, and how your family suffered. It's not based on skin color. It's based on how you were raised and the things that you had to go through just because you were who you are. I hate that so much. All poor people should be taken care of. Don't you think?
All poor people should be taken care of.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I also look at it this way. I don't look at the government to make me rich. I look at the government to make me comfortable.
Yep.
Stay out of my business and leave me alone and let me do what I'm supposed to do. Like I said before, at the end of the day, when you look at where the black community, we are a conservative community. You look at Redwood, Florida. You look at Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mhm.
You look at all of those great places that was built by black people,
Mhm.
being conservative, saying we can do this on our own, leave us alone. That is what I'm saying. The government shouldn't be in a place where it's going to harm a group of people. They shouldn't.
I agree.
They should just stay out of the way.
Yep.
Let us do what we're going to do. Let us fight our own battles. But the problem also is black people in their own community. Look at the I don't know if you guys saw the situation that happened at the city council, where
Which one?
Yeah, which,
Our city council is a hot mess.
well, there's a bunch of money that goes into the Black community.
Sure.
and
Yes, lots of money goes.
There's
into
a lot of money, and
Yeah.
that money that goes in the Black community never hits the ground.
Well, that's what they're
That's a good
saying.
way to
Well,
put
that's
it.
what they're saying about even federal funding going to, help starving children in Africa. It never goes to the kids.
Never goes to the
Never
kids.
gets anywhere.
Never hits the ground. None of
Billions
this money.
of dollars spent all over the place, and none of it
Mhm.
actually helps anybody.
Exactly.
Sick of that.
So way sick of that. I'm also, sick of a group of people here in Minnesota who have laundered and stolen billions of dollars, and the Democrats are letting them get away with it. The city council is trying to move money from a task force to help stop the violence, but as you can see,
Not
nothing
working
has
too
been
well.
done about it.
Right.
But millions of dollars goes into Minneapolis, and nothing is working.
No.
At all. So what do we do now? The Black community is trying to figure out how to make things work, how to make things happen. One of the things I've been fighting for the past 3 years is we need a facility open for the Black kids that are in trouble. If we can get them,
Agree. So
if we can get them
heartily.
before we know who they are. Everybody know who they are. Okay, we can sit here and act like, well, we don't know who these kids are. We
You
know
know.
exactly who these
it's not that
kids
big
are.
of a city.
It's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, so at the end of the day, if we can find a way to get these kids before they get to the point to where you two are walking into your neighborhood store and they walk up behind you and hit you in your head, or they walk and stick a gun in your face and take your car, if we can get to that point to get them before that,
Yeah, because that's age is getting younger and younger.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
point
really
that I've been
scary.
making.
11-year-olds doing this.
Yeah,
stuff.
but you can't get the Democrats to come around. The Democrats are thinking they're helping by keeping these kids out of lockup. Now, I'm not talking about being like Republicans. What they like to do is they like to lock people up and throw away the key.
No.
What I'm saying, I'm looking for prevention before this stuff happened, because
What can you actually do though?
well, we can go into the homes, right? We can actually go into the homes, because right now what happens is these kids get in trouble. They go down, they go to court, they get points, and then we turn them over back to the same broken home that they started the trouble. We have to fix the home. We have to do something. A lot of these moms, single moms, they cannot do this by themselves. So if the Black community really want to do something,
Do they
yes,
want to
ma'am.
do it?
Do they want?
Do
Yeah,
the
they
mothers
begging.
want to do
They're
it?
begging for
They
help.
are good. Okay.
That's the thing.
They're good.
They're
Glad to
begging
know.
for help. But the Democrats think that only thing they have to do is throw money at the problem. I understand the money coming in. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm,
But they're giving the money to the wrong people,
mhm.
and we're doing it the wrong way. What we need is facilities to help these kids mental health. We need to help the parents mental health, and then physically help these parents
And keeping them in school
and
too.
keep it. Bingo.
Because COVID really knocked out a lot of the inner city kids. They
It did.
never logged on. They're 3 years behind.
Wait,
They're never catching up. They're never going back to school.
So now think about that. When they sit there and they say, the school to prison pipeline. I'm sure you guys have heard that lie
Sure.
forever.
Mhm.
Well, it starts at home. Because if mom and dad is not making sure that these kids are not going to school, if mom and dad is making sure these kids are not doing their homework when they get home, is it not their fault that their kids are failing in school? Should we just blame the school boards? Should we just blame
Yeah.
the teachers and all this here? That's the part that
Right.
I get in trouble about talking about. But that's the facts.
Well, and the teachers are very frustrated too because they've
They
got these
are.
kids that they're so disrespectful. They're very disruptive, and they're not happy. No one's happy.
So why don't we bring vocational classes back?
I agree.
So when these kids get out of
Yeah.
school, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
So they can be a plumber, they can be an electrician, they can be a framer, they can be a welder. They got something to look forward to versus who's going to fight for that corner to sell those drugs to the people who's coming into the city from the north, south, east, and west.
Well, the problem is plumber is a low status job. It's not cool.
It's a good
Whereas
paying job.
being in a gang or selling drugs is seen as cool.
Yeah, I
Kids are
guess.
going to do what's
Well,
cool,
there is
even
a
if it's a
lot-
bad idea.
There is a lot of cultural pressure, and cultural pressure is very strong,
Yes, it is.
no matter what group you're in,
Yeah.
to conform to whatever it is. And that's how do you break through the mindset?
It's hard because guys who are getting out of prison, there's this guy that's getting out of prison right now who went to prison, and they were about to have a concert for him.
Okay.
That's our culture. We celebrate those people who go to prison and do time,
Yeah.
and we celebrate them. They're held. They're up on this here. Everybody's just walking around like this. You go to prison, it's big time. You go down there to juvenile facility. I go
Yep.
down to juvenile facility. It's daycare. Those kids, they're like, they know everybody in there. They're having a good time. They're thinking about what they're gonna do when they get out. There's nothing there. There's no before, there's no during, and there's no after to help these kids.
So there's no reform.
There's none reform nowhere. So they get out and they go back to the same broken home, same broken system
Mhm.
that put them in the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where at some point in time, we got to start going, let's stop for a second and see what's going on and see what's happening. And it's not just black kids. Okay.
No, not at all.
Trust me when I say this.
It's true.
The media does not really put everything out. Because what do they do to the rich white kids? You ever heard of Village Ranch?
Mm.
Look it
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
Look up Village Ranch.
Mhm.
That's where the little rich white kids go when they get in trouble. To these
Country-
little pampered
Country club.
country clubs.
Yeah.
And you don't hear about that. But the little black kids down here that acting a fool and doing whatever else, you hear about them all the time. So why can't the black kids have a little place where they go and we can start taking care of the problems that are in these inner city places?
Well, with all the money that they're throwing in the garbage can,
Thank
they
you.
certainly could do something better.
Thank you.
I mean,
That's what
the
I'm
definition
saying.
of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, and they keep doing the same stuff and throwing the same money at it, and nothing's changing.
But Catherine, we can't talk to the people who have the money. You know how many times I've tried to get in touch with that so-called governor you guys
I
have?
have seen.
You
I have
guys,
seen
you
your.
pass-
He's not my governor.
I've
I
seen your
understand.
frustrations on social
I voted
media.
for him the first time. I did because
Oh, you did.
because my thought was this man's a school teacher. Think about this for a second, right? He's a school teacher. If anybody knows about the system, he would. If anybody would take care of the system, he would. If anybody would work with the system, he would. What has he done?
Nada.
Thank you very much. And our
A lot
kids
of
are
money.
failing and they're going downhill fast.
They are.
He's done nothing.
Test
And
scores
he
are
don't want
dismal.
to the thing that gets me about him, he don't want to answer to it. He
No.
runs away from the problem. He don't want if you try to push him on a subject, he gets all upset and bent out of shape and red.
So we're talking about no balls walls.
No balls.
Okay,
wall.
then.
He just starts mumbling. You know, you're giving me some great memories. I will tell you because, I've talked about
Yes,
this many times
Catherine.
before.
We are.
I've talked about this many times before. I grew up in a very, very poor family. My father institutionalized, the whole deal. My youngest brother died very young, and you go through. There are poor people out there that are white. There's no
Thank
question.
you
about it.
very much.
People
for
don't know
saying
that.
Tom.
People
I
don't know
appreciate
that. But my favorite thought about what you were just talking about, how they tried to reach out to us. I was about 14 years old, and this woman who was going to college decided she'd go and talk to poor white people, right? She was a white woman herself, but she would go talk to poor white people. So she found my family, and she showed up, and she had the old bandana on like they wore at Woodstock. And, that out,
yeah.
you know that outfit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that interview, talking about what it was like to grow up so poor as a white kid in a poor neighborhood and blah, blah. And she was very nice, very pleasant. But while she was talking to me, so I'm like talking to you about the same distance away. As she's talking to me, and I think she's kind of getting teary-eyed and all that stuff, I look over and there's a rat sitting about a foot behind her on top of the couch. And I was thinking to myself, should I tell her that rat's there? Because the rat's not going to
Oh.
attack her. But should I tell her the rat's there? Because if I do, she's going to go berserk.
Right.
So the whole time she's interviewing me, there's a rat looking right at me like, the hell are you talking to her for? I will never forget that as long as I
And you
live.
wonder why your dad's so weird.
Yeah, well, but I wish
And
people
you
didn't-
married him, though.
Yeah, right. What a
I
mistake.
didn't know all these stories till later. Let me tell you, he kept a lot to himself.
But I really wish it's not about black, white, red, and it's about poor and middle class and wealthy. That's the big. We should all be looked at the same, but we don't get looked at the same.
I've said that over and over and over.
Yeah, you have. That's
We had-
exactly
We
right.
had a
I've said that.
gentleman on the podcast who was working with, was it dads?
Mad dads.
Mad dads. He was all frustrated because he's like, we know what to do. They just won't help us.
They just want.
Have you
I-
worked with that
I've-
group?
Yeah, I know Mad Dad group.
Okay.
I know those
They
guys over
seem to be
there.
very nice.
Yep, they're really, really nice. A really good group of guys. And like you said, it's money, man. Everybody makes money off of pain, hate, and
Yeah.
and making people fear.
Oh, big time fear.
Everybody makes money off of that, and who suffers? It's like I tell people, you know, when I go out and start delivering stuff and giving people shoes, clothes, food, and things of that sort, there's just as many white people that I give this stuff to as I do black people.
Sure.
Right? And people don't get that. They think just because I'm black, the only thing I do is help black people. No, I help anybody that's poor.
No, that's
that's
very
what my
true,
book
yeah.
tells me
Yep.
to do. Anybody that's poor, you're gonna get my help. I don't care what you look like. Right? My book doesn't tell me to discriminate against anybody at all. And I don't do that. Now I may get online and I may talk black things. I may say black things. I wear my blackness on my sleeves. Yes, I do. I have no problem talking black history. I have no problem telling you where I come from,
Sure.
Memphis, Tennessee, straight out of Shelby County, where I was told that if the trucks come, you go walk in the ditch. And what that means is if the white man comes driving a truck, y'all run for the ditches because they'll try to run you over.
Gosh.
Period, point blank.
Turned out to be
So-
Elvis Presley, by the way.
Yeah.
Memphis.
So I have no problem in doing that. And that's what a lot of people get upset when I tell my stories when I come there. But I get upset when people just accuse me of act like I only help one side or I only do something for one group of people.
Well, we're not
No,
accusing you of
yeah.
anything. We're your
Oh, we get
friend.
accused.
Although we do need to go into our next break.
we do
Yeah.
need to. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Reverend Tim with us.
Alex will be not with us.
You
Right.
got to go.
We don't have school today.
Oh, you don't have school
Oh,
today?
sorry. There you
Yeah.
go.
But my
Oh,
children are
excellent.
here.
No, that
Excellent.
makes sense.
Yes.
I like it.
All right.
Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Oh, we can.
Hello, everybody.
We're back. Never take your headphones off.
Sorry.
It all works out. It's not a problem. Look, it's not one of those kind of shows. It just flows, and it's not a problem at all. But it's going to be interesting, Andy. Josh Arnold's going to be on live with us in about 10 minutes, is he not?
No.
Well, it says it's a live spot.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I thought he
As
was going
in
to call
you-
in and do it.
As in you read it live.
Oh, I thought that he was going to, because last time we did that, he called in and he was live doing it.
He is on Wednesdays for the time being.
Wednesdays
Oh,
he
it's
comes
Wednesdays,
in, yeah,
okay.
or it comes on StreamYard. Anyway.
Yeah, you should meet him sometime. You ever met him?
No, I have not. And I was
He's
just
a
about to
piece of
say,
work.
wow, I was looking down going, is he going to be on here? I've never.
Well, he's
Okay.
bringing you to us today. Josh Arnold is your sponsor today, as a matter
well,
of fact. So
There we go.
he's a good guy, no question. I love having these conversations because how many people do you know you can sit face to face with and have this conversation? We're about, I think I'm older than you, but that's the only other.
About a couple of minutes, probably.
By a couple of minutes. But I just love the fact that we can sit in it and nobody's
I
kissing
do too,
anybody's
man.
ass. It's just we're all
I do.
telling the truth to one another. I really like that a lot.
I do. And I thank you. I thank you
Oh,
for
I thank
opening up.
you.
The funny part about it is you don't hear me on black radio
I know that is very weird.
because I don't play the victim.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
in order to be on black radio, you got to play the victim. I don't play that. I don't have time. Things that I do, I don't have time to sit back and, woe is me. I don't have this. I don't have that. The white man this, white supremacy that.
Right.
I just don't have the time to do it.
Homie,
If I
don't play
had
that.
time, then maybe I would do it.
No, I
But I
understand.
just don't have time to sit back, right? So the only place that I can go to sit and talk is like to you, Tom, who want to have this conversation.
No, I do want to have the conversation because there's no reason for people to feel the way they feel now. If you're successful, they don't like you.
That's
if you
right.
fail miserably, they don't like you. If you're white, they don't like you. Black, they don't like it. There's something about you they just can't like.
That's
no
right.
matter what you are or who you are, there's a group of people that's going to be. Oh, something happened to Catherine and me yesterday. We flew into town, came back to town, and I'm standing up and I'm reaching above me to get Catherine's coat out of the overhead. And there's a young woman behind me who goes, "Are you going to move? I got to go." I was like, "Remember that you were there?"
Well, I didn't know what was going on. I saw you got up and then all of a sudden you got all flustered and I didn't hear her.
Oh, you didn't hear? Because
No.
she
And all of
was,
a sudden you were really mad.
I said, "Once you calm down, sister, what are you doing? I'm trying to get my wife's coat. Do you mind if I be polite to my wife?" But she just didn't have time for that.
Do they notice you when you're on the planes and stuff like that?
A couple of guys did, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly it's women, the men that do. But I don't know what it's like. You can't wait 10 seconds for me to get my wife's
Well,
coat
that's
out of the
where-
overhead.
Yeah, I mean, we're just all rude as can
Why?
be these days. I don't
Especially on
understand.
planes.
Yeah, especially on planes, Andy. That's
It's
a very
like a
good
thing now.
It is.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions from the listeners.
Ooh, I like it.
Ollie wants to know if you are associated with a church.
Yes, I'm a reverend I'm one of 5 reverends at Berean Missionary Baptist Church in North Minneapolis.
There you
The
go.
old neighborhood.
And then we got a listener that wants to know what you think about public aid trapping people into a cycle.
Ooh, I like it.
You know what? I'm all for public aid. Do not get me wrong, but I'm not for public aid to be handed out to people who don't do the work.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is right now. We are giving out too much money to certain people, and as you can see, the work is not done. If we can find a way to bring all of this money under one roof, and someone delegates that money out, and then the people that they give the money to have to show their work, then we're all good. Because bottom line comes out. See, people always think, that it is the public who takes care of people. Your tax dollars is what takes care of people.
Yes.
Mhm.
But because I can tell you for a fact, everybody was like, well, we don't need the government to take care of homeless, and we don't need the government to take care of this and that. I have to go on Twitter and beg people. They know what I do. So people should automatically say, "Rev, what do you need?" I don't have anybody coming to me saying, "What do you need to help for you to go off and help these people?" Right. So I have to beg people.
So you
just
don't have
need to make-
anybody approaching.
Make yourself into an NGO. Non-government operative.
you
they'll
have-
they'll pour tons of money.
Oh,
into it.
yeah.
The things you have to go through to get money to go help people because of the scammers that are out there is pathetic.
Yeah.
So I go on and say, can you give me shoes? Can you give me shirts? Can you give me, water and things like that so I can give to these people? But you have to beg for it. People think that the everyday public is actually helping nonprofits. They don't. That's
No,
the truth.
right. Yeah, that is the truth.
So now I got to go to the government and beg the government for your tax dollars. And that's why we're up here in the tax bracket, because the government is trying to do so much of what you should be doing. You should be that good Samaritan.
Mhm.
I should never have to go on Twitter and beg the public for $5. I should never have to do that.
No.
You know what I do. You know why I do it. I show you what I do. I show you where I'm going, when I do it, how I do it. I have a full-time job. My wife have a full-time job. I don't need your money for me. I need your money for the people who call my phone. So why do I have to beg you for your money, but yet you want to get on the government for doing exactly what you should be doing?
Well, I
It's-
think it's because there is so much fraud and waste, and you don't know where the money's actually going when the government gets involved. That's
When
the
the government,
problem.
exactly. So
So nobody trusts that either.
Then let's push the government out of this and tell them stop using my tax dollars to go to Somalia to build and buy over there. Do it. We need it right here. I just raised money for 3 wheelchairs for veterans.
Which should
homeless.
they should just be able to get one through the VA.
Exactly. The VA should be having wheelchairs, right, in a truck,
Yeah.
going on the streets,
Yeah.
saying, you're a vet, here's a wheelchair. You're a vet, here's a vet. I just got 3. I begged for months for money to get 3 wheelchairs for a veteran, for one veteran that somebody stole his wheelchair.
God.
So he couldn't get around for weeks
How much
without
is
a
a wheelchair?
wheelchair.
How much is a wheelchair?
$250.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about a gigantic expense for a veteran.
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
But $600 million walked away from here, and I got
that they know
veterans
of.
that we know of, and I've got veterans crawling on the streets because they don't have a wheelchair. Where's Tim Walls at now? Where's Peggy Flanagan at now?
They're all kicking their heels up on stage.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's very
That's
true.
right.
Yeah.
And then we put up with that. That's the thing that gets me. We put up with this. We let them get away with this.
No,
We
I
say
know.
it's okay for you to do nothing. It's okay because we're going to vote for you again because they've scared us into believing that you're the better of the lesser of the evils
Right.
that we're going to vote for. That's why I don't like parties. That's why I'm not a part of a party.
No,
Right,
I understand.
I
man.
agree.
Right?
I bounce around on all the
You bet.
topics all the time
Yeah.
and on a lot of candidates.
Yeah. So when it's all said and done, we say America first, but are we really? Is it really America first?
I hope that we are having some sort of shift. I hope so, of accountability in government and all that stuff. I hope that that's what we're looking for. I hope. I mean, all we can do is hope.
If not, then he's going to tear it down, and then the Democrats are going to come in and feel that they have to swing the pendulum so far left to build it back up that we're going to be in more trouble.
We were awfully left in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does happen. Andy, should I take one more break here? Because I want to talk to Reverend Tim about something, that how long have you and I known each other now? It's been a long
I've been
time.
listening to you, man, for
30,
ever.
about 30 years. But you and I have known you how many years, though? Long time.
Long time. But the first time I heard you was in '96 when I walked into
Only 30 years ago.
yeah. when I walked into a building and you was KQ Morning Show.
Mhm.
I heard you on there. It was the first time I ever listened to you, and I've been listening to you pretty much ever since.
Oh, you have. You've been great to me. When I went through that period, I don't want to get deeply into it, but I went through a situation where this young woman had a baby,
Mhm.
didn't fit, whatever. So she drowned the baby in the toilet. And I said, we don't do that kind of shit here. You get the hell out. Go back
Oh, it
to
was
where
on
you
the-
came
yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was racist and horrible. No,
Yeah.
that wasn't the issue. It's like, could you hand off the baby to somebody else instead of killing it?
Yes, sir.
That was my only question. But you stepped up and supported me, and I will never forget that you were one of the few people that had the balls to step up and say, no, that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
Not at all. And then, of course, they came after me because we're joking around, and you would know this, but maybe people who live in, rich white neighborhoods don't know this. But this guy got fined. So he owned he's an Asian guy that owned a restaurant, and he got fined for blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. And I said, man, that's a lot of egg rolls. And they thought I was joking around the fact that he was Asian. It's like, no. What you would hear that, man, that's a lot of barbecued ribs. That's how it was presented back in the day.
Even if it was saying egg rolls because he's Asian, so what?
I know. It's just not
Are you supposed to
racist.
deny that he's Asian? I don't.
I mean, it's
understand.
like a pretty benign joke, I'd say. It's an
Why?
Italian say it's a lot of meatballs, and I wasn't going to care.
Well, that's exactly right, Andy. That's where it came from. Man, that's a hell of a lot of meatballs.
lefse for
Yeah.
Dan.
A lot of lefse for Dan, exactly. Why do people want to hate the successful people? What I said both times, I cared about the baby. I'm sorry for caring about the baby that was drowned in the toilet, too.
Yeah.
But I'm a racist because and then this guy, blah, blah. It's like, that's not what I meant. Like Andy, in Italy, that's a lot of meatballs. You got an egg roll store, that's a lot of egg rolls. You getting fined that much, you better sell a lot of egg rolls. That's how we grew up. But that's not how they grew up. So you're a bad guy and a racist. How do they arrive at that so quickly?
Victim.
That's
what I said.
No, you're right.
You got to know how to play the victim card. You got the black card. I mean, I play the
I don't
black
see
card
you
real
doing
good.
that. I don't see you doing that.
I say Tom's being mean to me
That's right.
because I'm a black man.
Yep.
He's
that's
not
true.
treating me well, and I'm on his show.
Oh, great.
I'm on his show, and Tom's. You guys are not treating me the
No,
way I feel that I should be treated.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's a victim, man. I mean,
Why do they want to harm other people they don't even know? That's
because
what I
they
don't
want
understand.
to be something that they're not.
Okay,
Because
good.
people don't want to work for nothing, Tom.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for it. I want you to give it to me. And the easiest way for me to get it is call Tom racist.
Yeah.
I'd sit here right here. I go tonight. I'm gonna call you racist, Tom, so I can get something.
Okay, no, that's not a problem.
Is that all right?
I
I just
don't
want to
think
make sure you're on board.
I've never had a black man call me that, but a couple of black women have told friends of mine that I was a racist.
That you was a racist.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
But a black man's never called me that, and I don't know what that's all about. Because I guess they understand. They understand. Look, I did not come from where they came from. I understand that, and they're not going to understand everything that I say or do or whatever. But could you be happy for a guy that came from absolutely nothing and made a nice career?
Well,
Could you be
whatever
happy for
happened,
anybody?
giving people the benefit of the
Or
doubt.
the benefit of the doubt? Absolutely.
You don't do that anymore.
Rev just made a face like this.
Hey, what are you talking about, Captain?
Yeah.
Don't you think, though, about 99% of people, or maybe 90% of people, are good people that are
Yes.
just here to help one another? I want to make that very clear that it is a small minority of people that are such assholes to everybody. It annoys me to no end.
And they
No,
all
and-
run for public service.
Thank you very much. That's how it is. And I tell people that all the time. I get it from black people. Why do you help white people?
Oh, yeah, sure,
Because
absolutely.
they are nice. I've met so many. When my wife and I went out to Glencoe, Minnesota, to help those white farmers and to
Mhm.
give the school teachers out there a check to help buy school supplies, we raised money for them, and we went all the way out there to Glencoe, Minnesota, the whitest area, pretty much.
Oh,
right?
it is the whitest area in Minnesota.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. And we helped those farmers who were down on their luck out there.
Sure.
We gave them money. That's what I did. And people don't realize what I do because I don't get on the radio or get on my get up and brag and pat myself on the back. I just like doing it,
Mhm.
And I expect people to be like, hey, cool. We're gonna help
Sure.
Rev out.
Yeah.
When I ask for water, what am I gonna do with a whole bunch of water? Think about it for a second.
Water your
Right.
plants.
Water my plants. Make sure my dog is watered. No,
Yeah.
the water is going to people.
Yeah.
That's why I don't ask for money, because it's hard for people to give up their money when they don't know where their money is going.
Very true.
So that's why I said, go buy it. If you go buy the shirt, if you go buy the shoes, if you go buy the coat, then you're buying what I need and I can give that to the person. So therefore, you know where the money is going. You know where the coat is going. So we don't have a problem.
Sure.
Right. So
Right.
I figure if I cut out the money, then everybody will be comfortable with what I'm doing. So when I ask for things, I say, if there's somebody out there that knows somebody with wheelchairs, and if you want to donate to that, I will go get the wheelchair. I will show you that I got the wheelchair. I need coats. Can somebody go out there and buy? I don't care what coats you buy.
You take
just
gently
buy me a
used
coat.
things.
Or we take anything.
Okay.
I don't care what it is, because people who need don't sit there and go, Rev doesn't have a price tag on it.
Right.
They go, give it to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Nice.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, when we're helping people, I don't care what color you are. I just need to know what you need.
Sure.
Period, point blank.
All right, let's take our last break.
Let me go into the last break. I can't remember who had the great line. I can't say it the way that he said it, but we'll take the blah and the blah, but we don't want the Irish. Who was it
Oh,
that
that
said
was in
that?
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
Saddles.
That's what that was very funny. We don't
Where did you
want
come
the
up with
Irish.
that?
Because I was thinking about people who are called all these names because of their skin color or what. It just
Oh,
drives me
I
nuts.
know. I mean,
But you bring it up and then you're the racist. That's what I just love about those people.
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You've never
Well, if
left
you're
mom and
different at
dad's
all.
kitchen.
Money, my friend. Money.
It's all money. We'll take a break, be right back, and wrap things up right after this. Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers, where you know your banker and they know you. Well, a lot has changed since 1998. This commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities has not. So if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabanco.com or stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you're saved enough money, or maybe it could be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer, though, or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today, 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance, no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. And I am a paid endorser. So now we are back. Rev, thank you so much. You got to stop by more often because there are not a lot of
that's
people
on
I can
you,
talk to
my
about
friend.
this. That's on you, my friend.
That's on you.
But I think it's good to sit down and have conversations, because this show today had nothing to do with black skin, white skin, being a man, being a woman, being this preference, that preference. It was just about people who've known each other for a long time, talking about why they have to make the road so bumpy for all of us. I
That's
just
right.
don't get it. Why do they have to do that?
It's because it's easy for them.
Yeah, I guess.
Right. If they throw the distractions at us, then whatever they're doing, we don't realize and recognize it. There's
Yeah.
people out there that's doing the work. Lisa Clemens with A Mother's Love.
No,
Adam and A. You ever heard of her?
Mhm.
You talking about somebody you should have on your show?
Absolutely.
Y'all should really get Lisa Clemens
I love that.
in here. She used to be a cop. But for them to do what they are able to do, they've got to keep you and I fighting each other, right?
Yeah.
They got to make
Yep.
sure that we don't like each other and we're calling each other, because we're not supposed to be doing this, Tom.
No, I know.
We are not
you're
supposed to be
right.
doing this, right? I got people on my get up that will tell me, "Oh, you went and you sat down and you talked to a white man."
I got the same thing.
I
You
think
sat down and
anything's
you
gonna
talked
change
about
unless you're
like-
talking about
exactly.
I don't get
It's
it.
hilarious.
right. And so
That's
at the-
ignorance. That has to be just ignorance.
it's just it's ignorant, but it fuels everything that we knows that's bad about society.
Yes.
I don't need to hate you. My stepdad is as white as Tom.
That's pretty
Married my mom in 1975. Came down to Races, Memphis, Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that's phenomenal.
Took me, my 4 brothers and sisters. He's a military man. Fell in love with my mom, took us and raised us like his own. He don't have kids. It's a white man.
Why'd he bring you up here? You have to freeze now.
Oh no, I got up here because my wife is from I met my wife in Anaheim, California,
Oh.
and she's from here. So, you can't raise kids in California. So we
There you go.
and plus I was being knuckleheaded. I was being a knucklehead, and my wife was like, you know what? Peace, dude. I'm out. You need to get your act together. I finally got my act together and followed her here.
Okay.
So she wasn't going anywhere else with me because I wasn't right. I wasn't there. There was times I wasn't who I am today.
Sure.
She who you see here today is because of her, and because of my kids, but and getting in with God and understand God is because of her and my kids. So that's how I ended up here, and I thank God that I met her.
That's what we're going to talk about next time you come in, because whether you believe there is a God, a shortened form of the word good, can't we just all believe in goodness? If you don't want to
Goodness.
believe in
I
God,
like that.
I mean, seriously.
I'm using that Sunday.
Well, it's
Can't we
true.
all believe in goodness?
If you don't want to believe in God, God is just a shortened version of good. That's all it is. If you don't believe there is a God, just believe in goodness and calm down.
Well, I
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about I'll share how good God is, real quick. I almost wasn't here because I'm going through kidney dialysis right now.
Oh, yeah.
I have a catheter right here, and I have to plug up at night for 9 hours.
Ooh.
And so everything about me was going downhill. Everything. I mean, my whole life was just turned in shambles. So, but once I started getting back to the point of goodness,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I started realizing just how good he is. He's given me an opportunity to do all of these good things for all of these people. Because I got a lot to make up for.
Yeah, me too.
You see, that's what I'm telling
First
you.
person he looks at is me. Yeah, there you go. No, it's
Because I
true.
knew you would understand what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Understand what so my whole journey right now is to do as much good as I possibly can, right? Because I need a kidney. My kidneys do not work at all.
You need a kidney.
Yeah, man. I'm at a point where I'm on the registry. I went through all the stuff you have to do to be on the kidney dialysis list.
Mhm.
So I need a kidney because my kidneys don't work. So I have to use a machine at night to clean my blood and
Oh,
do all
yeah,
of this here
yeah.
type of stuff. So I'm going through that right now. But through all that stuff, I also realized that God put me in a position to help other people and do things for other people. And I'm not going to give that up. I'm not going to keep doing it. As much as
Good for
tired
you.
as I am, and it does make you ask anybody who's on dialysis, you just go downhill and it's quick. It just go poof,
Yeah.
and you're hitting it. I could stand here and hate God all I want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
And blame your kidneys.
and blame my kidneys. I can blame this person. I could play the victim like we've been talking.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to do that because he's given me so many. I've hugged so many people who has it worse than I do.
Yeah.
And God gave me that opportunity to meet them people. God gave me the opportunity to be here. If it wasn't for Catherine, I wouldn't be here in front of you guys.
See,
I
extras
met
have some
Catherine
good.
first before I met you.
That was how many years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, we've
long
been
time.
friends
Yeah,
on
We're social
on
media
social
friends.
media
Yep.
forever.
Mhm.
Well, come back. So we got to figure out. And getting this thing going at least once a month, get together. and
Yeah,
talk
man,
about-
I like that.
That's a great idea, but thank you so much. I just like the fact that neither one of us sat here and we don't like this. We don't like, we talked about what we did like. And could you please just back off? If you don't like what we like, then like what you like, and we can get along.
We'll get along.
That's all I want to do is just get along with people. At this point in my life, I just like to get along.
Well, we
That'd
just
be
need to
great.
get over the whole propaganda phase
Yeah,
of life and
exactly.
get on to the solution, implementing solution phase of life
Yeah, yeah.
I
right now.
agree.
And we need to do it now.
We need to do it right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. I ain't got nothing to do. I don't work anymore.
I ain't got nothing to do.
I'm serious. I sit at home, figure out. Well, I'm working on 2 cases trying to get people out of prison right now. Marvin Hayes,
Yeah.
we got that one done.
Mhm.
I'm working on Philip Vance. Philip Vance is another kid that went to prison at 16 years old.
God.
They stuck him in prison. We believe that he's innocent. They had a conference at the prison on yesterday, so we're working on that. So those are the things that I'm doing, and trying to get food and everything for the people who call me and say, "Hey, Rev, can you help me out? Can you do something for me?" But other than that, man, like I said, I'm yours. So if you
Okay.
want me to come in and hang out with you guys, just let me know. I will be more than happy to come in and sit down with you.
I think it's wonderful. So thank you for listening, everybody. And we will get to the point where we're going to stop using people's sexuality or their skin color or whatever to like, they-
Garnish votes.
to garnish votes, to make
Garnish
money.
votes.
Settle down, everybody, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking